seat, light it up, let's unwind. Kevin and Kerr bringing topics of all kinds, from cigars to sports, family and more. Everyday stories you'll want to explore. So take a puff or ponder away. Join the talk, it's the highlight of your day. Puff and ponder where the sparks ignite. Conversations blazing day or night. Tune in now, let the stories take flight. It's the Puff and Ponder podcast, where we get it right. From fast cars to last night's game, family laughs or today's big name. We've got the topics, we've got the vibe. Stay tuned in and enjoy the ride. So lean back, relax, take a break. Kevin and Kerr got the chat you'll appreciate. Puff and Ponder, the show that's great, where conversations ignite. Don't hesitate.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Puff and Ponder podcast, where conversations ignite. I know a few of you might be here to seeing Honest Abe Dababna. He will be joining us just shortly here.
They're here for us,
what's that?
They're here for us.
Are they here for us? I guess I could move my mouse isn't working. I'm trying to get it in the right spot. But
we're here every week.
That's it. So
they got to be here for us.
So the other night, Kerr, Jessica and I almost got a divorce. We almost split up because she accidentally did a 24-hour fast, and that was almost the end of us.
That'll do it. How do you accidentally do a 24-hour fast?
She blames it on me. I wanted she does these
what hour did she blame you?
Yeah, she makes she makes her own egg rolls. And what's going on, guys? Kevin Keithan. Oh, I know. Kevin's here for Abe. And be like, hey, what kind of shit's he gonna be talking about?
I think Kevin
what's going on, RJ? So Abe will be on here shortly, guys. She makes all these different types of egg rolls, and my favorite is a cheeseburger egg roll. It's got meat, everything a cheeseburger inside of it, and they're fantastic. So I just messaged her, and I'm like, hey, we haven't had these in a long time. Not saying to make them, just put that in, since I knew she was going to the grocery store, let's have them this week. So, of course, they didn't have the rice paper that she normally rolls the egg rolls in. So she had to make the dough from scratch and then get it super thin. And that was a process. And next thing you know, she hadn't eaten all day. And then I walk in the door and start my fucking shenanigans as always. Your
shenanigans of hello.
Yeah, that's it. So we almost split up because she accidentally, because she's doing I'm doing the 18-6 fast. Yeah. She's doing the 12-12.
Yeah.
Well, she with the whole egg roll thing and going 2 different stores, she didn't have time to eat lunch, so she did a 24-hour fast, and I almost died, and we almost got a divorce. So
I jump started mine. I said the Super Bowl, after the Super Bowl meals and beers and everything else, I'm done, and I'm starting off. So today I started off with GI distress, of course, because whatever happened, which is always a great way to jumpstart your diet. But I start off with a 17-hour fast today.
Oh, right on. Yep. Yeah, I did. I think because I had a snack last night for the Super Bowl, I think I was on a 16. By the time I ate this morning, and then I'm super tired. My back hurts. I've been doing these 6-day work weeks. We're shorthanded, so I'm really, So I started off. I wanted to make some pancakes. So Jessica has this stupid fucking skillet. I got this brand new hex-clad skillet, like big one. I'm like, I'm not making a ton of pancakes. I'll try the shitty skillet that she uses. About halfway through the pancakes, I'm just like, fuck all this. I threw everything in the trash and I went to Perkins because they got the new pie pancakes. So they were like the raspberry pie with like the pie or raspberry pie pancakes with like the pie crumbles. Oh my God, they were so good.
Sounds like freaking
so I had that, some scrambled eggs, some sausage links, and some potatoes. So I had about 4,000 calories for breakfast, but it was worth it. I had a little fucking meltdown in the kitchen, and I was just like, I'm just fucking done. But I have a 4-day weekend this weekend, so I'm super excited because the lounge is a mess. I've got my Lego DeLorean that's almost a year and a half old that I've been trying to build, so I'm gonna start that and smoke a bunch of cigars.
That's a 4-day weekend project right there, my friend.
It is, because it's a lot of pieces. Let's start off with what we're smoking tonight. Kerr, what are you smoking?
I'm smoking an Ichiban from Room 101.
Oh, right on. I was going to go with a Protocol, then I realized I was out. I smoked my last one because I will be talking about Protocol cigars tonight with Abe. So I decided to light up the Espinosa Laranja Reservo Esquiro Toro from the December 2025 Smoke In Cigars of the Month Club shipment.
Yeah, I cleaned my lounge over the weekend. It was with all the snow that we've gotten. And it's South Carolina, so take it with a grain of salt. But we had an ice storm and a snowstorm back to back, and it lingers in the salt, all that crap. When outside, just throw it in the garage, stuff like that. So I cleaned, had to. It was just to the point where it felt disgusting and nasty. So I am certain that you are going to feel a great deal of relief after you clean this weekend.
Yeah, because shit's just everywhere, and we've been and mainly like our 3D prints. We've got Jessica's trying to assemble 300 of those oversized chain necklaces. We got boxes everywhere, and luckily UPS is a big shipment tomorrow. All my big jobs are going out, so it's going to clean out a lot of boxes of the 3D print stuff. So. For the first time in months, I shut down all my 3D printers the other day. I don't have a single project lined up, until a couple hours ago. Then I got, a nice little order that'll take a few weeks to make. So, but I like those because it gives me time to maintenance all the machines, get them all cleaned out, get them all re-greased. Because nothing sucks worse than a failing machine in the middle of a huge print that somebody's on a deadline for, and that's when that shit breaks.
Well, definitely. I think having that, you've been running hard on those. So
they've been going since,
you definitely needed some time to even just let them freaking cool down, and then, like you said, you got to service them and everything just to make sure, everything is good to go, because if you don't, it'll fail.
Yeah. We're working on some cool prototypes for some companies and trying to get some of my own shit made. I sent you one of my newest cigar stands, so that was a big one. We just finished a big run of those, trying to build up some inventory. So that was the first time I get to actually work on something for myself.
I like those. Those are pretty cool. Big fan.
Yeah. Thank you. I think people are really gonna dig them and dig just the unboxing of them, taking them out of the package. I think it's something. It's hard to say this in the cigar industry because every time either you or I say it, there's always some jackass. It's like, I did that 15 years ago. It's like, why do you got to be that guy? And I can honestly say no one's ever done this ever in the history of the cigar industry, but there'll be one guy to be like, I tried that. So.
Yeah. I had that idea. I thought about doing it and then I tried doing it, but I just didn't have the printers and stuff. And with technology now, they didn't have that technology back when I had the idea.
Yeah, exactly.
And Kinko's charged too much.
yeah, exactly. All right. How's it going, Abe?
Wow, dude. You didn't even intro. You just threw me on. I was getting ready to light up. I thought I had a second. Normally, hey, our guest is now. You just, hey, what's up, Abe? I was like, what?
He startled me too.
That's it. We try and do it up a little differently, on this version. And I want to thank you, for the Puff and Ponder podcast here is really taken off, and we get a lot of people watching, viewing. Not quite as many as KMA, but you were the inspiration for this when you guys stopped doing like the interviews, and that's when I really started watching KMA a little more, because I don't know, cigar interviews are boring most of the time to me.
You know, when we started KMA, nobody was ever hearing any of these guys talk.
Yeah.
15, 18, 17, whatever years ago it was. So it was like cool. But, nowadays everybody's on everywhere. So it really, and you start watching the numbers, and as soon as those interviews start, you see people start bailing out of the podcast, the broadcast. So, we were wanting to do it for years. I ain't gonna lie to you. We were just like, we were scared to pull that trigger. And then when we did, everybody enjoyed it. And it's kind of what we want to do, is what you guys doing. It's just really a bunch of friends getting together, smoking a cigar and bullshitting for 2 hours. I mean, that's kind of what we do on Saturday morning. And it works.
Yeah, I noticed it. What really helped me pull the trigger is Steve Saka was on somebody's podcast. When Steve Saka comes on, that video is guaranteed after a week or two, like 1,000 views. He did like one podcast, and a week later, it was still like 50 views, and then another podcast, 50 views. I'm like, I mean, even Saka's not drawing them in.
Well, part of it also is they're not sharing it. It's not getting out there as much. I mean, there's a litany of things that we're constantly fighting, but where is my, there we go. All right. Say something. Let me make sure I got volume.
Yep.
Check.
Can you hear me?
I got your back.
All right. So what are you lighting up there, Abe?
This is the first one I'm having. Literally just lit it up. Finding it a little heartier than I expected. But this is our release number 2 of our
get out.
Yes. Pete told me, and I'm going to have to, we have a live broadcast with the manufacturers for every one of these projects they made for us. And I can't remember, but BTB is something. I can't remember what it is, but these are kind of nice.
BTB.
Yeah, that's what he's got on the lid. It's TGS BTB.
Back to back?
I don't know.
Business to business? I don't know. Yeah.
He told me, I'm gonna actually look like that. Bro, I'm here in the office, the virtual background, but I'm gonna be having a lot of late nights this month and through March, through the event. But yeah, this is actually my first light up of the cigar. Unlike a lot of our projects, these great smoke releases, we don't ask nothing but for the manufacturer to make it for us. So, we don't, there's not input, not size. I mean, if they ask us questions, we'll answer, what we would like. I mean, Carlito wanted to see a whole, like, what do you call it? Storyboard, or whatever we call it, image board, or whatever, where all the concepts and the graphics and the arts, like my background here, what we're using to help inspire the box for his release. So we don't have a lot of involvement. We asked the guys here in advance, we'd like you to do something, and when it shows up here, it's the first time I'm seeing it, like most people.
Oh, I mean that's still cool. You don't give your input to mess it up. So if it's not good, it's on their end. But they're always good, especially for a release like that. They don't want to. They don't want to screw that up.
Carlito has you storyboarding like an Avengers movie,
bro. That's what I'm saying. And typically, we're working with people we know they're gonna work on it.
Yeah, that's crazy.
These 3 releases for our 20th anniversary, everybody went above and beyond. All 3 are extremely impressive. Normally I do not like overdo it with these things, but I've already smoked that much of.
Oh man.
I'm going to try to put it in front of my shirt. Yeah, I already smoked that much of this release because this was actually an amazing stick, and they all went.
What did that one? Because that one didn't retail for that much. What did that one retail for?
It's all relative. There were guys who complained and cried, and And there are guys who were elated and really want to know how they can get multiple boxes. And we did allow people to get multiple boxes. What everybody doesn't realize, because everybody was shocked, because I think it just went out of stock today, right? So it lasted a while. But what people don't realize is this is not a public offering. If it was a public offering, this would have been gone in 30 minutes or less, probably 15 minutes.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think about that. Yeah.
And that's what everybody doesn't realize with these great smoke releases. These were something special that each of these manufacturers did as a token, a recognition for those who are participating in this event, this great smoke event. It's something special for them. So first off, you had to have your ticket already. And there's still a good percentage of people who haven't bought their tickets yet. I mean, the VIP sold out in minutes, in hours, but there's tons of regular main event tickets still left. I think there's very few virtuals still left. And then the other thing is that a lot of people who participate in the Great Smoke every year, they don't even know about this. They're just coming to a party for a day. They don't know about the things we do and whatever. I mean, I was really talking to another guy last night, and he didn't even realize that we do a barrel pick every year for the Great Smoke. We've been doing it for years now, and we got whistle pig this year. He's like, "Are you kidding me? I want a bottle from every year if you have them." So it's funny how people don't know. So that holds a lot of people back, and I didn't think I had to limit it at one, but I never like to underestimate. So we wanted to give everybody a fair shot at getting one, and once that was done, and everybody had a whole evening and a day to get them, then we sent an email out the next day. If we're going to open it up, if anybody wants to buy a second one, and it wasn't long after that, and they're gone now. So I do have a reserve. I've kept it aside. We do that for multiple reasons. We do it for future projects or special releases we want to do, or promotions, and partially if God forbid something gets lost shipping somebody, I don't want to crush a guy and say, "Hey, bro, we got none left. Here's your money back." The guy would rather have the cigars, to be honest with you.
Oh yeah, I'm the same way. I'm like, the hell with the money. It's like, just give me, especially like give me the Opus. Give me the, the Tatuaje. Give me the Dunbar. So
this one I'm finding really interesting. It wasn't what I expected.
So there's still I saw I checked beforehand. So you still have tickets up for the virtual and the the general admission. VIP obviously sold out. Dinner sold out.
Yeah, everything sold out. Everything sold out the first day except virtual and general admission tickets. And the general admission, honestly, we will typically sell out the day of the event, because there's always those people who will just wait to that day, and we'll usually have 40, 50 tickets left on the morning of the event. And that's not guaranteed, but that's been the track record the last few years. And they'll sell out the day of the event. The virtual will sell out. And I think the Opus X was part of it. There were a lot of people who literally, I think, bought a virtual ticket as a premium. I don't even think they realized they're going to get a $400 package of cigars. They just went and bought a virtual ticket as a premium to buy this box. Which just,
I was going to say, I knew of one person when he heard about the Opus X. I saw him post somewhere like, "Hey, how do I get that cigar?" And someone's like, "You gotta buy a ticket." And then he came out, he's like, bought it. Just for the just for the Opus.
I think there are people who, not even understanding what the Great Smoke is, went and bought a virtual ticket. Probably doesn't even know he has to know he has access to the store because he bought the box, but doesn't really know much about the Great Smoke, and just decided, I'm going to pay $185 premium, whatever the ticket price is, for this box of cigars. And hopefully they'll figure it out, and they'll watch a little bit of the event and say, "Shit, next year I got to get me down there." So
So if you do anything, are you doing anything? Or are you part of? I know you said over the years the tailgating has been growing over the years.
So my dear friend Mitch from the Swingish Ruffians decided to throw a tailgate party one year, and it has been growing more and more popular every year. If I'm lucky, and I have been lucky, I don't think I made it the first year, but I think the last two I've been able to tweak out there for about 10, 15 minutes. Because while that's going on, we're still getting ready. There's still a lot of stuff going on. But I will sneak out there, have a drink, say hi to everybody. I think last year we had some axe throwing out there. I threw an axe, got a bullseye my first throw. I said, "I'm done. I'm out of here." I'm good.
Yeah. Had the axe throwing. There was wasn't there like a whiskey trailer out there as well? And
the Yellowstone portable mobile bar will be there again.
Oh, nice.
Right. Yeah, so the tailgating is definitely good, and if people wondering like this is the prize pack that people, you go to the greatsmoke.com. You've got your event cutter, shot glass, event hat, ashtray, lighter, lanyard, 32 premium cigars. Are those pewter? Is that what I'm seeing? The ashtray and the shot glass.
Wait, go back, and the hat.
Yeah.
Oh, and the hat.
The front of that hat's pewter.
It's not pewter. It's a metal.
Or metal. Oh, so I have another of the metal hats that you gave me.
It's a metal plate. And typically we give a really inexpensive, decent quality, perfect cutter. You got this beautiful beat cutter this year. That's nice. I mean, look, it's our 20th anniversary. This one, without a doubt, is the most expensive package we put together ever in the history of the Great Smoke, hands down.
Yeah, I was looking at that. I'm like, man, when because when I was getting ready for the show here, I'd never really looked at the pack, and I'm like, that's metal. I'm like, how is he including a metal ashtray and shot glass in every pack, and then still keeping it at the price point? I said last year this will be the least profitable year, hands down, and over budget on entertainment, over budget on this. I mean, just it's the 20th year. It's more about really just celebrating something in mass epicness, right? And then we go back to normal epicness the year after. That's it. Now, I don't know if I heard correctly. Maybe I didn't. Will this be the last year for virtual?
So, and I really need to have a talk when Michael and Kim and Paul are at the fairgrounds, because I have a plan what I'd like to do next year, and I'm hoping they'll still be involved. I'm pretty sure Kim and Paul will. I'm hoping Michael will. It's going to be the last year of doing virtual the way we've been doing it since COVID. It's a very high expense. You've been there. You've seen the crew. It's a very...
It's a for people that don't know, it's a TV production crew. This isn't someone with a camera. This is a legit TV production crew.
Yeah, they literally have done like the Golden Globes and stuff like that. I mean, they're a big outfit, a big crew, and they make the best with a smoke-filled room with not proper lighting and all the other stuff. And they follow a really good timeline. And the costs on their end has been going astronomically, and virtual attendance has been less and less because more people are showing up for the event. They see it, they're like, well, God, I got to get there next year. So to continue to do it the way we do it, I don't think is practical. So I think we're going to change it next year, where we will sell the virtual packs. But now that I don't have this massive, it is a massive bill, this production bill. And people always question, like, why are the virtual packs the same price as the event packs? I'm not going there. I'm not eating. Yeah, because we have this $40,000 production cost that these packs cover. They don't put two and two together. Yeah. There's still a major expense, even though you're not coming here. So by revamping how we do the virtual part, I think next year you'll see virtual packs cost less than people who are coming live, because there's going to be a substantial savings there. And I think what we'll do is, and this is just a vision right now, it's not a final thing, but I would almost I can get a couple professional people to follow Michael, Paul, and Kim, and they can have their own channel where Michael will do the IG, Paul will do the Facebook, Kim will do TikTok, or whatever it is. And it'll be like, New Year's Eve, where like ABC, NBC, CBS, and you might just flip between what Michael's doing at the moment or what Kim's doing at the moment and what Paul doing at the moment. Something will always be going on, and it'll just be more of a live streaming interaction throughout the day broadcast in this professionally done, scripted, huge production of a broadcast. And I think it may translate better too. I think it might be more fun. I think might be especially more fun for Kim, Paul, and Mike, because what's going on kind of changes, but we're all been doing the same thing now, especially them for 2021 was a digital, so 2022, 2023, 2024, for 4 years now. Wow, so for them now to freelance it and just be able to roam around, do what they got to do, and they'll still be the on-stage interviews, but instead of this big production, each person might be streaming. Like Michael's channel will stream him talking to people on stage. The camera guy might be up on stage with him, and Paul and Kim might sit somewhere in the VIP section with a group of people and film it from there and give their introspect as the interviews are going on. Mm-hmm. So I haven't figured it all out. I got time, but before I really get down that road, I need to really sit down and talk with all three of them and get their feedback and see what they think.
Yeah, I could see them all being game. I mean, they're there every year anyway, so it's definitely cool.
It's a lot easier for Paul and Kim because they live here.
Exactly.
Michael's got to trek out, so that's the wild card.
He's always traveling, anyways. That man is never. He's never home. So for people that still want to get in, if they buy a ticket now, they can still get in on these two these two other releases. You got Tatuaje on February 18th, Dunbarton Tobacco and Trust on February 25th. So you didn't have to already be in there. For people that
really up until sometime late this afternoon, you were still able to get the Opus. It just sold out and is gone now. And this is the Dunbarton release. I mean, look at all the circus theme stuff everybody did this year, because the theme is the greatest show on earth.
Right. And
these cigars, I haven't had one yet. I'm waiting until around broadcast time. They look really sexy. They're they're a 5x60 like flat bullet bellicoso tip. I know. I'm sorry, I got the virtual stuff on my office. Yeah. A mess. Flat.
Man.
Tip.
Nice.
I like that. I like that box lid. That was a nightmare to make. To have those guys scroll saw that thing out.
Right.
That's what I was thinking. As a woodworker, I mean that's a lot more time, and then and I'm sure Steve loved having to do that. It's definitely out of his.
Well, I did tell him like 2 years ago that, look, I'm cool with the paper craft bundle thing. It's great. Nobody really minds. Nobody cares. But for my 20th, you got to put it in a box.
Yeah.
You got to do something nice for my 20th. And he had a lot of time to think about what he wanted to do, because I literally knew the theme for this event 2 years ago.
Yeah. So and then at the dinner for the Red Meat Lovers Club, you guys are introducing a new cigar that people will get to buy. Is it be like last year? You get to buy like a bundle, and then it comes back out like in.
No, we changed it this year. It would be last year. Yeah. No, I thought you meant buy a bundle of the dinner. So this year you had the option to just get the bundle when you bought your ticket. So when you come into the dinner, you'll just get the bundle right then and there. You don't have to worry about stopping in the middle of your meal to go buy it or whatever. So that was changed. But yeah, this I believe, if Steve's formula is working the way it is, will be a regular release offered at the PCA show this year. The spicy beef stick, which is like that Vitola version of the Fritanga blend. But I defer to Steve for more explanation on that.
Yeah, I was that Fritanga that we got last year, man. That was so good, and that made so many people's lists this year. Such a fantastic cigar. Yeah, absolutely loved it. So let's get to the big news that I'm sure a lot of people are tuning in. The protocol news. There's some people posting. I messaged you earlier and I'm like, hey, am I right? Am I wrong? Because some people are saying you bought the whole company, but I posted the press release. You just bought the IP of Protocol Cigars.
We bought the brands. We didn't want the company. There really was nothing to the company. The company was the brands they owned, and that's what we acquired. And I've known about their struggles for a while. I think they were in talks a couple times about somebody buying the company and the brand. And, for us, it's been a viable brand. I mean, we've sold out a cyber crimes unit like right away, the first drop. And, we have a following, and Juan has a following. And Juan's had different partners over the years, but at the end, it was basically him and Kevin Keithan were partners. And, Juan throughout the whole time has been the face of the brand. He is the personality of the brand. And, they just struggled. The cigar industry is hard. It's hard, especially at that level. Money is a problem. Cash flow is a problem for guys still 10 times bigger than them. Cash flow is always a problem. And, one of my biggest thing was they never had product to ship me. I see it on my reorder reports every week, and nothing's coming in. And I think, and it's tough for us because I'm just still waiting to hear back from Eric to find out what is even in their production cycle, because Eric wasn't sure. I need to know what bands they currently still have there, because they have some packaging still there, whatever, before I could really sit and which probably really won't happen until after the Great Smoke, move forward. I think there was one big last order that they had, and I think all that inventory is being shipped to me. But we want to make changes. We want to keep the good things the same. We want it to be on people's shelves. You know, if you finally can get it, well, I mean, here's not the point. I mean, obviously now it's going to be a smoking exclusive, but you know, if it gets on, anytime I bring in a brand as a manufacturer, you don't want to earn that shelf space and then lose it because you can't fulfill a retailer's order for months at a time, you know? And it's tough for them too, because neither one of them, this was a full-time passion for, you know? Kevin has a full-time job, a serious career. And, you know, Juan's, while he's the personality, his acumen, business acumen, you know, like he didn't even understand. I had to explain it to him this morning, is we didn't buy your company. You know, you technically still have a company that now you probably should dissolve because, you know, you
have a brand
liable for anything the company does, you know. But, you know, I think what he's done with like stuff like the Lawman series and some of the special releases, I think Juan will be an asset to the continuing of the brand and its creative development, while I think my organization can better handle the logistics, the operations, the day-to-day running of it. And, you know, protocol fans will just have to find Smoke in if you're a protocol fan. I mean, that I don't think that's that big of a deal.
So, Abe, you might not be able to dive into this and answer this, but what about the other retailers that do currently carry or have carried protocol?
I think they're just going to run out of cigars. Yeah,
and that's it. They just made the announcement. Hey, this is what's going on. And
I mean, look, down the road, would we want to wholesale? I don't know. I don't know if the calling's that big. You know, because once you start calling, it opens up a can of worms. Unless it's really going to blow up, there's no need to wholesale. That becomes like a whole other division now in my company. And I think right now the following is enough that we can accommodate people who really are fans of the brand. Yeah. And, you know, maybe we'll do future releases or special offerings that we'll make available to everybody. But when you start getting into that category, because you don't want to layer and layer and layer things, and then by the time it gets to the final retailer, it's just too expensive of a cigar. Yeah. Maybe we can create things at the right price point, and that's always open. I mean, we haven't really thought out the full path forward. Right. All I know is I felt it was a viable brand. I think they built a good following. I think, and I think honestly, we got nowhere to go but up from here. So, you know, we're kind of excited, and it's just something that we're going to be working on in 2026.
Yeah, and
we might be bringing protocol cigars out from new factories. You know, I mean, versions of it. So there's a lot we can do that, you know, my 30 years of this industry will have access to. Then unfortunately, you know, Juan and Kevin and even the predecessors, Bill and the other Bill, just didn't learn yet.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Plus, like I said, you don't want 200 retailers ordering one box and then having to chase your money, you know, and that's always an issue.
I wasn't thinking long term. I was just thinking like short term, you know, you know, with what was going on. I never once would ever think that, again, never say never, but you know, with what you're bringing it in and having it under the smoking roof, that keeping it there, and then obviously, you know, letting things work out the way that if they do. But I definitely think it's a solid, recognizable brand, most definitely. And like you said, you can really expand the potential of protocol cigars being made out of several different factories, which is fantastic.
I think there's definitely uncharted avenues for this brand and life that we could breathe into it. And Juan being the face and talking about it and helping with the creative product, I think it's perfect for him to stay busy and involved with the brand he basically created. I mean, it's, you know, it was his brand. And, you know, as far as the other retailers, unlike a normal acquisition of something like this, where a big conglomerate, one of the big five, you know, who acquire a brand or whatever, we're not looking to, I mean, it really isn't the position to, but blow these out. So now, like, all of a sudden, you're going to see Protocol cigars for $3 a stick on my site, and I start making it in a podunk factory you never heard of. And now, what the cigars, the current cigars that we currently have, that all the inventory that's currently been made, will continue to sell at the price that we've been selling it at, that every other retailer is selling it at. So, because normally when something like that happens, and I think General Cigar or somebody just discontinued some lines or whatever, and they're moving or they're moving them to the catalog side of the company. We blow them up. We just get rid of them right away. We don't even want them, because that means they're just gonna blow out the brand, sell it at a cheap price point, so it doesn't have viability anymore. We're just gonna let the catalog companies own that brand, and we're just gonna dump it. Like, anybody who follows us might have seen a huge big closeout sale on some very well known named General Cigar brands in the past couple of weeks, because they're going and going to be gone.
That's it. Yeah, when you start seeing them on, not nothing against CI or Cigar Page or whatever. When you start seeing them out there, it's like, what? That's just how can you compete with that? Because they're just blowing them out. And
what a lot of retailers don't understand is everything has a life cycle, and it operates when its life cycle. And there are, some people don't understand, like when a manufacturer decides to do that with a brand, send it to a catalog company or blow it out, because they don't realize is that part of that business is necessary, because not every brand a manufacturer makes is a viable product. And when you're a smaller company where you might be able to sell through it, because you don't make, but when you're these companies who could be sitting on 10,000 boxes of something, you got to get rid of them. You got to get rid of them. So it has a life cycle. You just, as a retailer, got to figure out where your life cycle is and how to let them exist, do what they're doing, and you exist, do what you're doing.
Yeah, and then the one benefit, like I said, going forward, in future releases, you could possibly, the price, at least the stable pricing, and even come down a little bit, because obviously now you're, there's no middleman that you're having to buy from. So
we does make it come down at pricing, but the problem is I'd be hesitant to do that on the current releases until we kind of know it. Eventually there's going to be a revamp, Eventually, like I said, I don't even know how much current packaging they have there. I mean, this deal just got papered like last Thursday, and Eric didn't even know. He's got to go call down there and find out. So at some point there will be we don't want to overhaul the look of anything, but there will be a slight overhaul to differentiate our protocol versus the protocol that's been for all the other retailers who may be carrying them. And that's where you might see a change in something like that.
Yeah, exactly. And then everybody will say, they've changed. They're not as good anymore. They got the new boxers. Ever since they came out with the new bands, they're not as good. You always say.
They're always doing that. But right now, there's absolutely zero change to not work with La Zona or the San Latano factory. We want to keep cigars made where they're being made. And honestly, I have no plans to change where they're being made. I may use other factories and other manufacturers for some maybe future projects and versions, and that's something that's on our table. But I don't have no current plans to change anything on that level.
So I know Dojo had done a couple of collaborations. Is that I'm sure you're not even thinking about that, but future, you're still maybe gonna, if they want to do a Dojo protocol collab, you still up for
yeah, absolutely. I would have no issue with that. And we don't want the creativity behind the brand, like I said, to lessen in any way. We want to enhance the current creativity, maybe give Juan even more available options that he didn't know he could do. Yeah. And mostly our role is just to facilitate a better day-to-day operation so that these are more viable and available and don't disappear. And, we've had, I could have sold another couple hundred boxes of Phoebe Cates. Couldn't get it. Yeah. You couldn't get it at Phoebe Cates. Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yeah. So is this your project, or when you approach Briggs and he's like, "What the fuck, Abe?" Putting some more on it.
I operate my business kind of like House MD. If you ever watch a show, decisions. I bring all the people in the room and we just start talking and taking. That's how the digital experience happened. About after hours and hours of being locked in this room. So no one thought it was a bad idea. I mean, look, I'm going to tell you what. everybody thought it was a bad idea, Briggs and everybody. When I reached out, I told Briggs, reach out to Juan and see if he'll sell us all the cybercrime cigars. I think he only had 150 boxes. What are you going to do with 150?
Oh yeah. That was just like a month ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a few months ago. The first drop of it. He only had 150 boxes. What are you going to do? Send 2 here, 5 here, 3 here? I'm sure they'd rather not have to ship 120 packages. See, he'll sell it all to us, and he did. And he thought I was crazy. It was the highest price protocol cigar. I think the highest price cigar protocol ever had. I could be wrong, but I think I'm right. And it was 150 boxes, and like they thought I was crazy, and then it sold out like I don't know in a day. And a half, 2 days they were gone. So it's there, and they have a good following, and we just want to make it better. We want to, all those people who are fans and want us cultivated over the years. We just want to give them a better journey.
Mm-hmm.
That's our goal.
Feels exciting.
Yeah, and like you said, people will find it. When I'm looking for a cigar and I can't find it, what do? I Google it and then see who has it. Yep. So, the protocol fans out there, they'll, eventually, Smoke-In will be at the top. It'll be the only one that
the only one. What'll happen is they'll just find out we're the only one that actually has them in stock.
Yeah, exactly.
Some sites might keep it up just to keep it up, but we'll be the only one that has it in stock, and we'll get around and people know. And I think the key thing is we're just not looking to destroy the brand. We're looking to build a brand. A lot of time when you have an acquisition like this, there are times, and this happens. I mean, I could name a few people right now that recently happens with, where there's not even an acquisition of any product. It's an acquisition of just the name.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then companies like CI or CP or any of these other guys will go to these factories they have relationships with, and where they get like bare bottom pricing on sticks, and they put the bands on them, and they sell them. And that's usually what happens with an acquisition of a company like this, right? Because they know, because most retailers don't look. Guys watching your show who follow KMA, who are in our culture, they're educated. They know what's going on, but you got to remember, there's so many cigar smokers who are just buying cigars.
Yep.
They don't go to a lounge. They don't talk to nobody. They're not on social media. Mm-hmm. So when they see a brand like Protocol Cigars, man, I've been paying $12 for that stick. I've been paying wow, this company now all of a sudden has got them for $5 a cigar. Holy shit. Yeah. It doesn't enter their mind in any universe that you're not buying the same cigar.
Right.
Right. So they think they're getting a great deal, and these big companies know that. They take advantage of that because, believe it or not, there's a lot more of those customers than there are people like us customers.
Yeah. By the name.
That's the truth.
I got introduced to Protocol Cigar about 8 years ago when I was traveling up north in Maryland, and I was hooked. It's a great brand.
Yeah. I know. I think like the Sir Robert Peel. I like that whole like I said that series. Fantastic cigars. The
Lawman series were big hits in my opinion. They all sold very well. Yeah, they all did very well. And in every single one of them, I could have sold more if they just didn't have any cigars for months and months at a time after the initial round we got sold out.
Yeah, and then the hype dies a little bit, and it's just you can never. You can't. That second round of hype never plays out.
It's like surfing, man. When that wave is there, you got to hop up on the board. You got to hop on that wave when it peaks and get on that board. Otherwise, you just miss the wave, and the wave goes by.
That's it, and it doesn't come back. It's rare that a second wave ever pans out. So,
that's pretty much it in a nutshell in regards to Protocol. I mean, I was actually surprised at how big a deal it appeared to be to everybody. I've gotten a lot of PMs, a lot of texts, a lot of personal messages, and and it's funny. It's funny because I think I can't remember who it was. Somebody on social media said that I'm the Lou Rothman of our era. I don't know about that because probably at my age, he probably had 200 or at least 50 to 100 brands or names he acquired over his time. But he is one of my. In fact, I just had dinner with him last week and his wife. He is one of my mentors. I did watch him and watch his career and tried to learn just from the things he did before I even got to meet him as a person. More so that we actually became friends down the road. In fact, I'll leak it here first. My KMA crew may get mad at me tomorrow, but we'll talk about it again tomorrow. Lou retired about 15 years ago. And those of you who don't know who I'm talking about, that's what scares me, is there's actually a generation. No. When I say the name Lou Rothman, they don't know who we're talking about. But you could probably say at one point, Lou Rothman was basically selling more cigars than anybody in the country put together to the people in the United States. And he was the pioneer of our industry, and ran one of the biggest empires. He retired 15 years ago. And, what are you going to do? And I think Lou is going to come on to do some writing for us, some blog writing for us. And Lou is a great writer. He had his own
man.
Nice.
Yes. He had his own magazine. He had his own magazine that he wrote for. And he used to write most of the copy for his catalogs, which people love. So I think the people who really know Lou, and, when he got on Facebook after retirement, he started writing some stuff. And I asked him why he stopped. He goes, I couldn't handle the PMs. Oh. He was messaging me. I just couldn't handle it. I had to stop. So I think this will be a good outlet for him, because some of the best stories in this industry are in that man's head. So I'm really looking forward to it. And once we get his first blog or write up, we'll start putting it out there more the week before, so that people will have time, and we'll catch the first blog written by Lou Rothman for Smoking Cigars.
Oh, that'll be great. I wish, I can't wait to read him, because I loved his old stuff. I love Matt's old stuff. I wish he'd start writing again as well. He had some great stories back in the day, but yeah, so yeah, there's a whole generation that doesn't know him. When I got into this industry, I remember one of the first press releases that I had read was when Jano Osninger died. And I had no idea who that was.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was just getting in at that time, and but yeah, but Lou Rothman, how do you not know? But like you said, we take it for granted sometimes that we're cigar nerds, and we know, I'll be talking to someone, just out and about smoking a cigar. I'll strike up a conversation. They don't know anything, what are you smoking? And they're like, oh, I don't know.
I've just gotten to the point where I'm just so old now and been in this industry so long that to have this thing where you think, wow, there's a whole generation of people who don't know things that are just basic knowledge to me because of that time gap, scares the hell out of you sometimes, or you get freaked out about it. You're like, wow, it's crazy. But yeah, there's a whole generation of up and coming cigar smokers that aren't privy to history. And I think even for those guys, what Lou's going to talk about and share, I think they're going to find it amazingly interesting.
I think so. And what I love most about being in the cigar industry, especially on the media side now, is that we get these videos. I'm on 15 different platforms. My videos will live. Same with yours in infamy. I love it that one day my great grandkids, your great grandkids, be able to show hey, this is my great grandfather. You could hear him talk and watch videos. My good buddy Brad Reith, who passed away a couple years ago. Before his first grandchild passed away, but he'll get to know his grandpa, intimately by watching hundreds and hundreds of videos, and that's what I love.
I made this realization. I think maybe it was around COVID or not. I tried to start a movement, post positive. Yeah, it got to about 30 people and stopped. But because I used to be one of those guys who would engage and debate, and I just realized that nobody wants to hear it. Nobody cares. And you're not changing anybody's opinion. And it was a waste of a lot of my time and energy on social media. So I began to really think of it happens once in a blue moon, but I don't post a lot of my business stuff on my personal page. If you have access to my personal page, it's just sharing my life, because I began to use my Facebook page as a time vault. Think that's literally why I looked at it. So, other than just the stories of my kid, the funny thing happened the other day was where, growing up, and we used to say to my dad, where are we going? And his famous line was, we're going to Honolulu. That's what my dad would say. And, then you get older, you realize you can't drive to Honolulu, right? But that was a famous line. So, without even thinking about it, as my kids are growing up, Dad, where are we going? We're going to Honolulu, right? So now it's second generational. And the funny thing happened last week was my wife and I were taking my oldest daughter out somewhere. My son was all curious. And my son goes, Patrick, where are you guys going? And my daughter turns around and goes, we're going to Honolulu. So yes, now we have another generation going forward. But stuff like that doesn't get passed on. So it's nice to have something like Facebook where not only can my kids go back even to the years where they don't remember what was going on in my life and can spend time, their kids can, my grandkids can, so that's the way I look at Facebook now, and I handle it. I really try to look at it as a time vault. Hopefully it's still around. I mean, look, I really don't understand how it works, because how much data can they really keep for all these people forever? I mean, at some point, purging gotta happen. I don't know how that's going to work.
I don't know, but I just imagine, Petra being like 40 years old, teasing Asher, and then showing his friends the videos of him like at like 6 years old running around the swimming pool while you're doing a live and just acting a fool. Like, hey, let me show your friends all these videos.
my son has definitely provided a lot of content over the years.
He definitely has,
without a doubt.
So, all right, Abe, I know you're a busy man. Thank you for coming on and spending some time with us and letting us know everything that's happening. And then for people, make sure you tune in to KMA Talk Radio this Saturday. Best way to start your day. I will be on. So it's our Valentine's Day special. Love is in the air. I don't know if that's a good title or not, but it's
make sure there's no fasting prior to the show.
Yeah.
So little bad news.
What's that?
I'm away this weekend.
Get out of here.
Valentine's Day, man. I'm away, but I will be hopping on. So I'm going to hop on wherever I'm at. I'm going to hop on for a little bit, get on, bullshit with you guys. I just can't spend 2 hours. Me and my wife are going to the other coast for the weekend. And actually, we're going to go watch Carlito be the Grand Marshal for the parade down in Tampa. And we're just going to spend the weekend in Tampa and come back. So.
Oh, right on. That'll be great. So I'm on this Saturday, and then next Saturday, Jessica will be on.
There you go.
You get 2 weeks in a row. Great guest.
There you go. We keep it in the family for a couple weeks.
That's it.
Very nice.
All right.
Well, listen, thanks for having me on. I know you reached out to me. I said I'm still at work. If you want me to hop on and you want to ask me a couple questions about what's going on today for fans, I was happy to do it, and I appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, anytime, man. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
All right. Have a good night. So the reason I wanted to have Abe on was a couple people was talking, the press releases that Abe bought the whole company. So I reached out to Abe and he's like, we'll hop on and talk about, give all the specifics.
The nitty-gritty.
So super excited. Just Protocol makes great cigars. Obviously coming from great factories, San Latano, Lazona. Just great factories already making great cigars. So, and then
a good solid line of cigars. Like you said, the Lawman series were always fantastic. I mean, their core lines is exceptional as well. I mean,
I like
mentioned earlier when I first started smoking them, I think they had maybe 1 or 2 lines out, and I was up in Maryland, and as I started traveling through the whole area, I did see them in pockets of and moving, because they're great cigars, and the guys are great too, and there's a great fantastic story behind it, and it resonates with people, that Protocol and all the different cigar brand names and the meanings behind the brand names. It's more than just a cigar band and a name. I mean, there's a lot of depth to it.
There's a lot of depth, a lot of history, and then I'm glad to see Juan Cancel, really the face of the brand, staying on as brand ambassador, and then just just keeping with the company. At least it's staying in the factory or in the family. Smoking is the Protocol family. So it's I'm glad to see it. And nothing against any of the ones that sell out to the big companies, STG, all that, because I'm for sale too. If anybody wants to buy me, I will sell out in a second. But sometimes that one-on-one relationship goes away, and it's sad. You just don't feel connected to the brand anymore. Luckily, like Room 101, Matt Booth did a great job. He's still, I think a lot of people have already forgotten that he doesn't own the company anymore. He's just
it
the
was
face.
like it was a big announcement, some
Yeah.
criticism, and then it all just kind of smoothed over, back to normal.
Yeah, it all smoothed over, back to normal. People know that, or like I said, people don't know. I think like on the Alec Bradley side, I don't think that's the same case. So I think people know that it's owned by somebody else now, and the cigars are, I think some of the cigars have gotten better. When you can manufacture sometimes the bigger companies, sometimes it's tighter quality control. But sometimes not. But yeah, Matt did a great. Same with Caldwell. Robert's still the kind of the face of the company. So two little bit smaller companies, I guess, than Alec Bradley. But yeah, super stoked. So and then Kevin, thanks. You're very welcome. Can't wait to see what well, I was to say. You saw the cigar company. You can always come out with something else. But but yeah, no, take the money and run, or walk away very quickly.
Walk quickly, yes. Speed walk.
Yeah, speed walk away, because that's what I would do. So Kerr, yesterday, I'm gonna light up I'm gonna light up another cigar. I got this Rocky Patel DBS. That's been sitting in my humidor for a while. It's been a long time since I enjoyed one of these cigars. So
it's a yummy cigar.
I'm going to light this up and talk about the Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl.
Let's start off with the elephant in the room and talk about
my fellow Americans.
Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Can I start off that with my fellow Americans?
Let's talk about the halftime show, because I didn't know until this morning that I was a racist, because I watched the Turning Point USA halftime show instead of Bad Bunny.
It is amazing how you do find out, who you are based off of other people's, assumptions, opinions, and then also, it's comical, because the same folks that are saying, don't lump us all together. Don't, the first thing they do is they start lumping. It's inevitable. It happens on both sides. It is the definition of hypocrisy. But yes, if you didn't watch it, if you didn't like it, or if you watched Turning Point, or if you had a combination of any of those three, you're definitely. I've seen comments, and when you see a comment on a Facebook posting, and you're like, oh, okay, that's a little pithy comment, and then you see the same comment over and over and over again, it just reminds me there's someone somewhere manufacturing this crap to get out, right? And I think it had something to do with if you're not watching, if you don't watch the show, or if you're going to watch Turning Point, you're the same people that wanted your own water fountains or something like that. It's something akin to that. And one of my good friends from back, one of my close friends, we lived together. He posted. I was like, "What is that? A Neil Young quote?" I mean, is that from a Neil Young song? Because it just. But then when I started seeing it more and more, I thought, and what I did was, what I sent to you in our messaging is exactly the way I felt about the halftime show. And I think those of us who are in the cigar community and fell in love with the cigar community, the cigar lifestyle, and everything about cigars, there's one inalienable fact, is that it has that, that the Latino roots, obviously, of the cigar industry. And you fall in love with the music, you fall in love with the food, you fall in love with the attire, you fall in love with the artwork. And when you're around it, you hear the Latino music. And it's not all going to be in English. That's just fucking the way it is, because it's out of the country. So just deal with it. And I thought that the halftime show was rather entertaining. It was great, lively, upbeat music. I think all of the hype and the bullshit that both sides were spinning, that may have pushed away and alienated people from watching it or going in with some sort of half-assed preconceived notion, really robbed people of being able to enjoy a rather exciting and, I think, eventful halftime show. That's what I have to say about the Bad Bunny. All the crap with the Bad Bunny. He's going to wear a dress and he's going to come out and he's going to, shoot Donald Trump or whatever the bullshit was being said. When you watched it, you're like, wow, that was really entertaining. It was lively. It was freaking great music. You almost wanted to get up and start dancing because it was like, when we went down to Ybor City, you had the band up there, they're not up there going, okay, for all you, white dudes, we're going to sing in English now. No, they don't. That's what you got. Now, there's a lot of folks who think that NFL's not reading the room of most of their watchers, and they don't want to see that. They'd rather see some sort of rock and roll or whatever in English. Fine, have your thoughts. I thought it was I thought it was a delightful halftime show.
Yeah, I just I had when the controversy of this started a few months ago, like I looked up on Spotify and like I don't know, I like the like the salsa type music, but it didn't, that's it. But I don't know, but it didn't, I don't know, it didn't appeal to me, and I'm like, all right, I like Kid Rock. I don't like everything he does. They had a couple other country musicians that I
country
knew,
music.
and I'm like,
I like country music.
And I'm like, I'm just gonna watch. Like I said, I didn't like last year, Kendrick Lamar. I'm like, I really don't like anything he does. And then but I think I watched a few minutes of it and turned it off last year. And I don't know. I guess I like watching things that I like. And
that's the thing. You like watching things that you like, and just because you don't like it doesn't mean you're an ist.
Yeah.
It really doesn't. I mean, I went through, what I did was I actually went through and I looked up all of the halftime shows since, what was it, Kevin? Like 1991 or 1992 that I posted. And I went through and I looked through all of it. I remember most of them, and it was like good, suck, good, suck, good, suck, good. And here's my top 5 halftime shows.
Yeah.
Number 5, and this is a tough one because U2 did a fantastic job, and it was right after 9/11. It was a memorial. It was freaking emotional. So there's that. I think that performance kind of stands on its own. I don't think that is a performance that could be added into the top 5, in my opinion. I think that was completely patriotic and just stood on its own. So number 5 was Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Eminem, Mary J. Blige. I thought that I loved it. I kind of back. I'm like, okay, they got Snoop.
I think that's the greatest of all time. I loved that halftime show.
Was awesome, right? So that was my number 5. My number 4 is still Michael Jackson. I mean, that was a big breakthrough in the halftime shows. I mean, he freaking killed it. He's Michael Jackson. I don't own a Michael Jackson album. I don't have any I don't have any Michael Jacksons, on the regular. But if I hear Michael Jackson song, I know it and I listen to it. And the guy's fucking talented beyond belief. He was.
Yeah.
Number 3, what I thought was freaking blew me away for his age generation. What he did was Bruno Mars. That
man, that was so good.
I mean, great. He had Red Hot Chili Peppers on and stuff, which actually I thought was cool. But Bruno Mars fucking killed it. Number 2, I got to go with my boy Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. That freaking 2008, fantastic. I love TP, and my only regret, I think, out of any of my concert goings is I never seen Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers live. And number 1, I don't care who you are, where you are, what music you like. If you don't think Prince's Super Bowl performance is the best performance you've ever seen, you're living on an island somewhere, because that hands down in the rain, singing, not giving a shit what he looks like. He didn't listen. I like older Prince. His other stuff, not a big fan of it. But he did all of his old stuff. He did covers. He did 3 covers. One of them was a Foo Fighters song, and just showed everybody, like he did on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame when they when they did My Guitar Gently Weeps, showed everybody that he is the most underrated guitarist, that man has a level of guitar playing ability that is head and shoulders above most of the guitarists, and people just didn't really know it. And he plays all of his instruments.
Yeah, I'm not a big Prince fan. Jessica's a huge Prince fan, but that was a great halftime. RJ had said looked like Kid Rock was doing some lip syncing, all lip syncing. That was 100%.
It was, and I watched both, Kevin. I watched both, and I'm not a fan of country music. I like old country. I like my Johnny Cash. I like my Charlie Pride. I like my I like my old country that I listened to them in the 70s when my mom would freaking put them on the 8-track or the records. I like old country, not this new stuff. I do like Kid Rock's country. Yeah. I know he was featured on a couple different albums. He was on Willie Nelson's. Came out with an album several years ago. The Great Divide. If you ever get a chance to check out that CD album, whatever we call them now, he's got Sheryl Crow, he's got Kid Rock, he's got a bunch of guest stars on it. Fantastic songs through and through, and I think he's really done country well. He always said, Kid Rock always says he smokes cigarettes because he wants the Bob Seger voice.
Yeah.
The one part though that cracked me up, and it was a beautiful lyric, and at the very end when he talks about there's a book that's sitting around that's dusty, and there's a man who died on a cross, blah 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 blah, and as he's singing that, and as everyone's cheering, it's emotional. I'm thinking Mike Tyson going, I was in the house and then Kid Rock came out and threw a big pile of coke on the piano, and we were doing coke while these girls were around us, and we played piano and we did coke all night. So for some reason, that's all I can remember as that was going on.
Yeah, I remember an interview a couple months ago. I forget who it was with, and it was the first time they had been to the White House. And he goes, at one point, he hears the piano playing, and it's just like background noise. And then he looks over, and there's just Kid Rock playing the piano in the White House. And they're like,
"It's what Bill Maher said. He's just sitting there chilling out, playing the piano."
Yeah, several people, I guess, when he goes there, he likes playing the piano for, not for people, just likes playing the piano. Yeah, a couple people said that now, but yeah, and I'm like, could you imagine that, just like going into the White House and then over in the corner, it's just Kid Rock playing the piano, it's like,
you're like, where the hell am I? Yeah, I mean, he's again another guy who plays multiple instruments. He's super talented, really, it is, because as we watched it, when you hear that, my name is Kid, that hooks me right away with Kid Rock.
Oh yeah.
I thought his, he was lip syncing. The country music part that he did was good. I'm not a big country fan. All the voices and all the music was still great, but apparently they got some killer freaking views, man. Apparently they blew up.
God. Yeah. When I first, there was 2.5 million people waiting before the halftime show, because I had it pulled up in my office.
Wow, really?
And I don't know. It was tens of millions. It was a lot of people watching. And then the comment section, the trolls in the comment section, you're all racist, and this and that. And then it's just like, well, you're giving views. You're
adding to the numbers, dumbass.
You're adding to the numbers, dumbass. It could have been 50%, but you did not help the situation, because if that's an organization you don't believe in, because Tuesday morning or Monday morning they're going to say we had 25 million people watching, even if 12.5 million were haters. But yeah, you just you added to those numbers, and you added to that bank account, for them paid views.
Oh my God, yeah. It's that part that does crack me up, though. It's like you how many people actually were on there that added to that bottom line number just so they can troll. And at the end of the day, what happens? You get people from that freaking organization saying, we set a record, and your dumbass probably were one of the people that freaking tipped them over. The most watched event, I think, was pretty much ever, what I read.
Yeah, I think ever. I think the most watched live event ever
on that platform. But then when we're talking about if you didn't watch this, you're racist. I'm like, come on, man, give me a fucking break. I like the Who. I'm a huge Who fan. I seen them in concert. They did the halftime show. Terrible. I'm not a Rolling Stones fan. I like some of their songs. I get it.
Same here.
Terrible. Aerosmith, saw them a couple times in concert. Saw them several times in concert. I actually seen them during their when they had their career was revitalized in the late '80s. Their halftime show with Britney Spears, it was terrible, just terrible. So I mean, come on. Let's just call it the way it is. I mean, Katy Perry, Lenny Kravitz was there. Lenny Kravitz, who I love and seen him several times, couldn't save that freaking show. So at the end of the day, if it's something you like, you watch it. If it's not, it's not. I think media, I think the trolls, I think the idiots on both sides of the fence really robbed a certain percentage of people that may have watched this if they were not influenced by those folks. And it's a shame because, again, I thought I thought the story it told was great. I didn't feel like there was any, and I don't care who it is, right or left. If you have an overarching theme and you're always trying to jam a message down someone's throat, it's annoying. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was well done. I thought it told a story. Wyatt and I watched Hamilton together, and he's like, that guy's in another musical called In the Heights, and another musical is New York, Latino. It was like watching that, and that was a great movie too, a great musical. It was like watching that. So if you didn't watch it and you're some crotchety freaking person who listened to way too many freaking Sean Hannity videos, hop on with an open mind. Just listen to it. It's great music. It'll make you want to get up and dance.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance. I was super swamped today, and then I took a good long nap. I wanted to go back and just watch it, just because just to see what everybody was talking about. But watching it live, I just wanted to watch something from someone that I knew and I like. But other than that, like I said, it's everybody says the performance was great, so I definitely want to go back and watch it. So
it was. They had some people marbled. Actually, what's funny is the part that I was kind of like, was when Lady Gaga was singing. I think she's another talented individual. I don't follow her music. I think she's ridiculoly talented and has a great voice. But they had little spots of people here and there, and I thought, wow, I thought it was pretty remarkable, if you ask me, considering the expectations that everybody was setting leading up to it. So
yeah, exactly. But what did not exceed expectations were another year. What happened to funny Super Bowl commercials? I remember growing up, as a kid, and as a kid, we wouldn't watch the game so much as we would the commercials, and you were so excited, and you would just be laughing your ass off, and they were funny, and you wanted to see what Budweiser did this year, and you wanted to see everything else. And
Doritos always had a great funny commercial.
Doritos. Oh my God. Like the finger licking through the hole in the wall. Those were always, those were always great, just funny commercials. And they were water cooler commercials because, and then, getting adult life at work, that's what we talked about. Oh my God, did you see that commercial with and then now it's
and great movie trailers too was missed opportunity here. There was it was like, hey, look, another Minions movie. Hey, look at the Toy Store movie. Hey, it was
and then the movie that didn't have a title to the trailer. Like I don't even know what the movie was called. Like there was no title.
Brad Pitt's one with Brad Pitt
was
that was the one thing that got me excited. It's from Netflix, and it's basically from Once Upon a Time. Not once. Was it Once Upon a Time in America?
That was it. Was that? Is that a? Do you think that's a sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood?
I think it's a prequel. I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. It's the story of Brad Pitt's character, the stuntman.
Okay, because I told Jessica, I go, that's the same character.
Yeah.
as the movie. So I go, is this a sequel? Oh, so you're thinking it's a prequel of how he got there?
I think it's either a prequel or it's going to be some sort of storyline that involves him. I'm excited to see it because that movie was a good movie. It's a little long, which is a Tarantino movies are long.
Yeah.
But his character was fantastic. So I'm really hoping you get to learn more about his character. And that's the one that got me excited. It was fucking riddled with AI commercials, just nothing but jamming AI down.
I just don't understand like why some of these companies feel the need to advertise, like ChatGPT. It's like why are toilet paper companies still having commercials? I could see a paper towel. Oh, this one's a thicker, quicker picker upper. I'm gonna go buy that one. But toilet. Same thing with toilet. They didn't have a Super Bowl commercial. Why is ChatGPT advertising during the Super Bowl? Do they need more people? Is someone watching going, ChatGPT? I wonder what that is.
What's that all about?
I should look them up. Claude.
There's a lot of commercials saying AI is your friend.
Yeah,
it's not the Terminator. It's not going to become aware and kill everybody. And to your point, I think that I think there's a level of sensitivity that everybody has gotten to where these commercials aren't funny anymore. They're not entertaining anymore. I mean, for how many years I watched it, especially depends on who's playing the game. I watched the Super Bowl for the commercials. You'd be in a room full of people, everyone be talking and bullshitting during the game, and as soon as
everybody gets quiet,
everybody shuts up and watches and waits.
Yeah,
and they've stolen that from us, Kevin. They've stolen that from us, and I don't know how we get it back.
I don't know either. Is it just a money grab now? I don't know. Budweiser had a good one. Budweiser returned, this year, with a good commercial. I really like it.
Oh, the Eagle?
With the Eagle, and then like the end message, I forget what it was, brewed by America or something. And it was whatever it was. I can't remember what it was. And I'm like, oh, it's like a really good commercial. That Dunkin' commercial was stupid. Absolutely just the dumbest fucking commercial.
It was. I think that Dunkin' commercial was like last year's Dunkin' commercial with Matt Damon and what's his face,
Ben Affleck.
It was kind of gitchy because you got to see all the old actors. Throw a little bit of AI in there, make them look younger. Kind of had that whole thing going. Like all those people who we loved to watch back in the 90s and the 80s, like all those stars kind of all coming together. Friends, Urkel and whatever.
Yeah. Yes. Bud Bowl.
And bring back the Bud Bowl, man, or the Puppy Bowl or something like that, But I thought it was, again, I kind of chuckled at it just because of all the people that were in there. And then at some point you're always going to wait. Okay, who's going to be on next? But I just was the last several years been largely disappointed. I've been more disappointed in commercials than I was in the Super Bowl performance. Which, hey, Seattle's defense is great. They're solid. They're crazy. I think that they did what they had to do. The one thing, actually, I did see that they did some interviews afterwards, but I stayed. I was watching the interviews afterwards, and they're running up to the coach, and obviously they're running up to Sam Donald, and obviously the who's the running back who got the MVP. I mean, he fucking
I can't remember. Yeah.
I'm like, who's interviewing the freaking freaking drafted kicker from Marist College who played football and didn't have a special teams coach who just broke a record and kicked 5 field goals in the freaking Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Who's interviewing that guy?
Yeah, nobody cared.
5 field goals. Longest is 41. And you're thinking, well, that's his job. I'm like, yeah, well, how many kickers have missed field goals? And, that's what you all talk about. But this dude, offense, that guy, the freaking running back, ran the ball like hell in between the freaking, in between the red zone. They got stopped, and the Patriots defense is pretty damn good too. I mean, it was a really good.
Oh
defense.
yeah,
that D-back, who is it? Gonzalez or the D-back for the Patriots? He played his ass off. He saved a couple of touchdowns.
Yeah.
He was all over the place. But you got the kicker. That's the first dude you should be running up to when you look at the score. Be like, there's 14 points from that dude. Broke Super Bowl record. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. It was the game was the most NFL I watched all season. Combined. With obviously I'm a college football fan, but I still it was still a good game. I was rooting for the Seahawks. Just because the Patriots, but I was good either way because we had a Buckeye on either team, so Jackson Smith and Jigba and Travion Henderson. So there were some Wolverines there as well. And then wasn't the coaches both former? Isn't the New England coach former one of coached for Michigan, and then I think. Seattle coached for Ohio State, in one of the positions.
Maybe one of the positions, and I don't know about the coaching staff that far down. I know that the one coach for Seattle is going to be taking on the role of the Raiders head coach. I heard that. It was I forget which coach it was said that he was going to the Raiders. Yeah, I mean, but. What was really funny is they were like, this is a great Seattle defense. Now, I'm a Rams fan, and I'm an Eagles fan. And they're like, well, they're a great defense, but Matthew Stafford, who everyone kind of wondered whether he should have been the MVP or not, he threw 457 yards, 3 touchdowns against the Seattle during their playoff. And they lost. It's a great game. But he threw for over 450 yards and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, I like what they said that the guy that was streaking during the halftime show had more yardage than the Patriots.
Did you see? I was watching something. They said they go, look at this guy. You spend $50,000 to get that seat, so you can access to get onto the field. Airline tickets, hotel accommodations, everything to get on the field and run and get tackled. What if that same guy placed a bet saying, I'm going to bet freaking $50,000 on that someone's going to run on the field before the kickoff and streak? What are the odds of that? Oh, that'll never happen. Not only did he place the bet, he made the bet.
Yeah, I saw that Dave Portnoy had he bet on the Patriots to win like early in the season, and his $50,000 bet would have paid $2.8 million. Wow! If because it was like at when he placed the bet, like there's not a chance in hell the Patriots are gonna win this or even go to the Super Bowl. So
hats off to them, man. They had a great season. They were a quiet. They were a quiet presence because every week they run through the scoring and you're like, oh, the Patriots won again. And they're like, oh, so you're like, the Patriots are what? Like they're what is their record? Well, how the hell did that happen? That quarterback, he went to UNC. He went to the University of North Carolina. They're known for basketball, not football, basketball. And I think he's got a great career. That poor kid, he still ended up with over 200 yards, 2 touchdowns. Yeah,
but I did like that like out of him, dude. They showed a picture of the last time he was in that stadium with his dad. Yeah, and it was like last time Seattle was I think played the Super Bowl in that stadium. He was there with his dad watching the game. Yep. And he was back as just him. I mean, God, just his just a great story.
Poor kid.
He did. They drilled him over and over again.
I know, and then when you have the opportunity, you got to make a good play. It's like, dude, you've been running for your life 80% of the time, and then that 20% when you actually do have an opportunity to throw the ball, you're probably like, something's going to come out of nowhere. I mean, you get happy feet. He was. That dude was always running for his life.
he overthrew 3 passes that would have been touchdowns, by just a couple of yards, just the receiver just couldn't catch up to the ball.
And that's his youth. You have someone who's an experienced quarterback, who's been rattled and been through that before. They're going to be able to kind of go through that. He's 20-some years old, and he's got a good career ahead of him. I think that Vrabel's really built a good program there in New England. And, in the back of my head, there was a part of me that wanted them to win, because I think that the NFL was on a streak of just some really stupid shit, it seems like, right? First of all, depends on how you look at it. Got a lot of criticism about this halftime show. And I think all the BS revolving around it and what was going to happen and blah, blah, blah. Then you have the Pro Bowl, which they should just do away with.
I don't understand.
You got Deion Sanders' son and Joe Flacco going to the Pro Bowl. And
I'd like to have seen ticket sales for that to see what they actually were.
And everyone's talking about like, oh man, if you don't think he should be there, man, maybe you're racist. No, he's not a good quarterback year. Maybe in a couple of years he'll develop. Who knows? He's very talented young man, very talented quarterback, very talented athlete. But even him and Joe Flacco, you combine their freaking yardage and their touchdowns and interceptions together, it still doesn't equate to someone else. I know they said, well, Trevor Lawrence didn't want to go. Okay, that's great, but still, that was for shit. And then you completely ghost Belichick and Kraft for the freaking Hall of Fame. Dude, that is like, hey, we did something really, really stupid. What do you want to do? I'm going to double down. It's like, I'm lost. I'm driving down the road. I'm lost. What should I do? Drive faster. You're going in the wrong direction. Drive faster. That'll solve everything. So I think there was a series of just bad decisions and just that made that the NFL kind of ended the year off, I think, with a black eye a little bit.
Yeah, they need to get back to their roots. They need to get back to, and who can, and at the end of the day, who cares? Who plays the halftime show? It should be, people that are popular, people that are up in the charts. I guess Bad Bunny was up in the charts, did good, but I don't know. Look at your fan base of who's watching the Super Bowl and cater to that fan base of what they want to see, for a halftime show. Get back to the funny commercials. Get back to, we don't look at the Super Bowl. We don't look to games and athletes for political opinions or just politics in general. I don't want to see any of that. I want to be entertained. I want to be entertained for a couple of hours. Show me a good time. It's the same as if I watch a movie, if I read a book, I just want to be entertained. That's it.
Yeah. Sometimes you need to escape the realities of things and just what is big. Yeah. And now, back in the day, you could escape, it wasn't always around you. Here, it's a constant bombardment. It's a constant bombardment on social media. It's a constant bombardment with just, with just going online and just hopping on Yahoo or Google. It's a constant bombardment in the media when you turn on television. It's a constant bombardment when you see movies and it's just nonstop, 24/7 it seems, and you're like, okay, I want to watch a movie for 2 hours, and I don't want to be bothered. I just want to escape it. And you turn it on, and you're like, son of a bitch, they squeezed something in there.
Yeah.
Jen and I just got done watching season 11 of Alone, where they drop these people off in different areas. This was in the Arctic Circle, like 100 miles above the Arctic Circle.
Wow, because in normal always in like tropical climates or something.
Yeah, no, this was brutal. I didn't have to worry about freaking any political marbling in at that point with this, but it was very entertaining. We're trying to pick up some new shows here and there, but it's entertainment is just that, whether it's music, sports, or what happened. You just want to escape for a little bit. You want to get away from it, and it's sad that some people don't get that. Like you said, bring back the funny commercials, man.
Yeah, that's it. Just bring back the Super Bowl of, I don't know, of our youth, of what it was, and it wasn't even of our youth. Just bring back the Super Bowl, what it was for 30 years. Not even just for a couple of years, but for the majority of the Super Bowl, it was about the game. It was and then it was about the commercials and a good halftime show. And
well, you see what's funny here is what Brian wrote here. The conservatives made it political when they got pissed off because a guy who's platinum, blah blah blah. And Brian, that statement alone, in my opinion, it solidifies what I've been saying. At some point, you also have to be able to look at if you're a Democrat or if you're a Republican, at some point you have to be able to look at your own freaking party, your own people, and say, stop. You're adding to this shit. But if you don't, and you're always so quick to point the finger at someone else, nothing gets solved. In my opinion, it just doesn't. You have to. I've always said, if you're going to vote for a president or if you vote for somebody, don't care, mayor, governor, whatever. If you're not that person's biggest critic and not their, everyone wants to be their biggest fan because they don't want to admit maybe they voted for a dope. If you're not that person's biggest critic, then you're not right. You're not voting right. You should be, if they earned your vote, you should be their biggest critic. When they do well, yes, I did the right thing. We're on the right track. If they do poorly, call it out.
Yeah, I'm a conservative Republican. I'm not afraid to admit that, and I am my party's biggest critic. It's like, why aren't we doing more of this? Why are we doing this? It's like, God, it's like you're giving the other side ammunition. Why are we doing this? And then I look at the other side, and it's just like, hey, I look at the other side. I'm like, you're kind of no better than us. Doing the same shit we're doing.
No one wants to say stop. I mean, no one wants to just say, hey, you know what? We've done some stupid shit and said some stupid shit. We're overreacting. But everybody will always find something to justify what they're doing and what they're saying. And we are in this generation of, it's my truth. It's my opinion now is mistaken for intelligence. And it's also mistaken for my opinion is always right. And you don't, I will circulate this conversation back to the cigar bar, back to the cigar lounge. It's where you actually sit down, you have a conversation with the individual, and you learn that you have more commonalities than you do differences. And a lot of folks don't want to take the time to even do that anymore.
No, they don't. It was just they just want to bring up like old shit. It's always the old school Republicans. Well, the Democrats started the KKK. That was them. Like, what are we bringing this shit up for? It's like, then it's like, oh, the Republicans, back in the 18. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Let's talk about this shit today. Like, what's going on today? I don't. It's not that I don't care. It's like that. Let's talk about what the country's going through today and how we can fix it. I did see the and it was like a 300-page bill that they're introducing for a fair tax. Finally, they've been working on it. They've been working on it for 2 years now. Yeah. Of a fair tax, and so
get rid of the income tax. And then replacing with tariffs.
Yeah, and but I do like that. There were Republicans and Democrats. They both worked on this. Whether they'll get it passed or not, I don't know. A couple people I'd listened to. It's really like a 22%, but then you got your state state sales tax, so it could be 30%. And then they're going through some numbers, and it's just like 30% might actually be more than what we're paying now, but. I don't know.
It's funny.
We'll see. That's what we need to be working on.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's, improve the lives of everybody in the United States. It really, alleviating taxes and allowing, a free market. I think that always is a benefit. I was watching ESPN and was it ESPN? and Boomer Esiason was on. He was talking about how these states charge players playing in their states, and he pointed out that, and it was kind of funny to hear him say this, but Sam Darnold, right? He paid the state of California like $275,000 between playing against the Rams, three LA teams or three California teams he played in, obviously in the Super Bowl, California.
Yeah,
they freaking paid in $275,000, and they make $135,000 for playing in the Super Bowl, and they have to give just California, I think, like 3.5% of that.
Yeah, there was one player I remember reading maybe like a year or so ago. It was in his contract that he didn't have to play in any games in California because he didn't want to pay. He didn't want to pay the taxes. You only have to pay if you play the game. So like, and it's been a while, but yeah, it's crazy. And then California, that they're trying to pass the one-time billionaires tax. That's why they were all fleeing before January 1st. Because it was a 5% charge. If that goes through, that'll be hit like in June. They have a some tax that if your business leaves California, you still have to pay taxes to California for 10 years. I don't know if that's a current or if that's being introduced as well. So for 10 years after you leave the state, whatever you make in your other state, you still have to give back to California to pay in taxes. I'm like, what is going on out there? Luckily, this is, what's his name's, I think he's got 1 year left, or I think he's the same as our governor, that they end their governorships next year.
Oh, Newsom?
Yeah, Newsom, but yeah, just, but yeah, it's just tax. It's all tax. I think 30% is a lot of money. It'll take a while to get used to, on a tax, but that's what people have always said, on a fair tax about what it would be, 25 to 30%, but it would generate revenue because people that don't, because that drug dealers are now paying taxes because they got to buy milk, or they got to buy when they buy their cars or their socks or their shoes. I think food will still be tax free. I mean, it is here in Florida, but yeah. So everybody gets to pay taxes now. If you're paid under the table, guess what? You're still paying taxes.
Yeah,
because you got to buy shit.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, that is where you talk about income and people buying shit. Well, I still got to buy stuff for my kids, and that's where you're going to get a lot of blowback. Is going to be some of the lower income where they're not taxed as heavy, and then they can go into states and some states it's zero taxes on products or maybe 6% sales tax on some, where now they're going to have to pay 30%, but they're not going to see. They can possibly not see the benefit of the tax cut because their taxes already are so minimal. Where someone like you, who you're probably freaking getting taxed like freaking 38%.
I joked that Jessica and I are married. We're actually just engaged. So but yeah. So as a single white male that is in the top earning bracket, yeah, I get boned. On taxes. Yeah, I'm probably, like I said, 35%. It's just
you call that tax bracket, man. It's like like my dad always said. He said, I didn't realize Clinton came out and said he's going to tax the rich, and my dad said, I didn't know I was rich until Clinton was in president.
Yeah, yeah. Now I don't know, like because they'd always said if you got if we went to a fair tax system that would also abolish the IRS, which it won't, because I still have like me and you we still have corporate taxes that we got to file and everything else, and I don't know how deductions work, things like that.
But those individual big fat returns, and I mean can you still write off children and still get money back for children?
Yeah, your mortgage insurance, all that,
But still, I mean, a lot of folks are getting, like, I remember, I think I told you before, I had a friend of mine. It was like well, we're getting X amount back. We're going to go to Disney, and I'm getting a new laptop. I'm going to get a new tattoo, and then I'm going to get an iPhone. And what are you going to do with your tax returns? I'm like, listen, I don't think you overpaid the freaking government $6,000, okay, or $8,000. I'm getting like, my dad always taught me that it's best to break even. You don't want to give the government your money during the year, and you don't want to freaking you don't want to give them all the money during the year so you get it back, and you definitely don't want to enough being taken out so you're paying in. So you want to kind of try and break even. So if you make a couple $100 at the end, that was before starting a business and everything like that. You just really want to kind of stay in there and not even understand the deductions, but you really want to stay kind of in that even Steven mode, or maybe get a couple $100 back. I didn't have children back then, so I didn't have to worry about, claiming them and getting money back. But when you got somebody whose combined income isn't that much, they're not already paying in a lot of taxes. You're getting $8,000 back. You didn't overpay $8,000.
Yeah, so I've got a couple friends of mine, a husband and wife, and they pay extra each week because that is their vacation money. They have a hard time saving money. And I always tell them, I go, you're giving it to the government interest free.
Right.
Why don't you exactly. Because they'll like put in like an extra $100 a week, so they expect this $10,000 return so they can go on vacation. They live a comfortable life. They're not wanting for anything else, but they just can't save money. And I'm like, just put it into something else and just save that money, get a little bit of interest, or, but they can't do it. So I'm like, all right, so if you want, pay the government and you get that money back, whatever, it is what it is. I don't pay my corporate taxes quarterly. I only pay them yearly. So I always owe at the end of the year. Then I take a 6-month payment schedule with the IRS, because in 6 months it's interest free.
Right.
So I just take that 6 months and just pay it off at 6 months. If it's a low amount, I just stroke them a check. But yeah, so I mean, I owe, but my goal was always to break even. I didn't want any money. I wanted my money every week. So I can.
My dad used to say, "Listen,
so I can invest it." Like I said, my company has a 401k match. I put in like 15% of my paycheck, into my 401k. So if I took the extra money, that wouldn't go into my 401k. So I don't know. Yeah. So some people use it that way because they can't save and like whatever. And then I know my buddies that own the tattoo shop, man, they love tax time.
Of course,
tax time specials, and they were living high on the hog, for a month or so.
Oh yeah. It's that time you're like, I got that $400 tattoo I always wanted.
Yeah,
but that's what my dad would always say. It was always, look, break even. You don't want the government freaking getting extra money, and you don't want a bunch of money back from the government, because that's always going to be a big red flag for an audit.
Yeah,
and the IRS can just come in and just fuck your life up. And if they're not right, they'll just be like, okay, we weren't right, and they can leave, and you could still be left upside down.
Yeah, I'm lucky that I have no red flags, because I've owed taxes for the last 15 years. So they're never flagging me like, oh, this guy, he owes us again. Sweet. We're not going to look over his bill. Hey, this guy, he has a
save him some money.
Yeah. This guy's had a business for 6 years and he hasn't made any money. Why is he still in business? Let's help him look around and see what see where he could save, so
it's that, it's amazing. But yeah, I mean, I read about that, so it'll be interesting to see how that comes to fruition. I always have to circle back on, the latest and greatest of what's been going on, and I'm seriously wondering when that UFO announcement's going to come out. I saw the other day that Trump has the freaking everything written up. It's going to happen in July. He's coming out in July and making a big announcement.
Yeah. I was just, I don't know if it was on the Y-Files podcast or it was another podcast I was watching that I learned. You started the Y-Files podcast, so you'd know if it was in there, about Trump's uncle. MIT got all Tesla's all Tesla's paperwork. And then so that was have you finished that podcast yet? I haven't with Mike.
No, I have not. And don't spoiler alert it for me.
Yeah.
I'm just starting to get into the interesting stuff. The guy's an interesting dude, and you know, I'm really interested in learning more. I mean, hearing more about you know, everything from the Kennedy assassination, but they've just gotten into the whole, you know, the presidents that have come out and said that the American public needs to know about UFOs all have been shot. Kennedy, Reagan, Trump. Which is pretty comical. I mean, not comical, ironically comical. And then is learning more about what they're finding on Mars and what has been kind of brushed over and glazed over, but what is actual in reality. And the face on Mars, apparently they've known about that for forever.
Yeah. You know, talking about the pyramid on Mars.
Pyramid on Mars.
Which I'd always known like there were pyramids on Mars, but they were talking about like the base of the one pyramid is like 1.5 miles long. That's how big. And I'm like, oh, that would make sense to be able to see it from space. It would have to be pretty like that big. You know, so and then just all the coincidences about the moon. So if anybody doesn't know the Y Files, I think everybody probably knows about the Y Files. AJ started a new podcast, so I think they just launched episode 3. So
I also want to watch the interview with him and Tucker Carlson, because I started watching clips of that when they were talking about
it was too short. That's what sucked. It was only like an hour and a half. And they didn't dive deep into a lot of stuff. It was still a great interview.
Yeah.
It was they didn't dive as deep into the things as I was hoping. But yeah.
I'm one of those guys. I like you. I like Tucker Carlson. I do. I think he's one of those guys where whether you agree with his political views or not, he just kind of he doesn't give a shit, and he doesn't care whether or not he's a friend of Fox News or if he's extradited and just banished to the freaking to podcasting. I think he's a pretty rational dude, you know. He's some of the stuff he starts talking about, you're like, especially with the religious part.
I get it too. I'm like, oh, you're kind of stretching it there, guy.
Yeah, being attacked by demons and stuff. You're like, listen, Tucker, I'm a fan. You're losing me a little bit here, but I'm gonna listen because you may have something there may be something there, but
I can listen to it, make my own conclusion, or look up a fact that I don't feel is true. You know, I'm just not gonna just go online and blast Tucker because of his faith and anything else. You know, it's just not what I do. I don't like Gavin Newsom. I think he's shady and creepy. But I listen to I've listened to probably a dozen podcasts that he's been doing. And every now and then, like, he'll have like a little nugget, and I'm like, I agree with that. Like, you're right, about that, and we should be doing that. But then he says something else. I'm like, well, you had me there for a second. You
got to watch guys like that, because I'm the same way. He is like, in my opinion, I think he's the Democratic version of Mitt Romney.
Yeah, well, without a doubt.
The way they look, but also the way they act, the way they, another two people where you're like, dude, come on, man, you're just so full of shit, and you're like, oh my gosh, that sounded really. I agree with you, but then you start going, okay, this person is he's been caught in so many BS moments that even when you do say something that makes sense and I agree with it, I'm going to question it because I don't know if you believe in it or not. You're one of those disingenuous politicians.
Yeah, he's just mad because his ex-wife left him for a Trump. So that's why he's so angry.
Yeah. I mean, but it's you see those, like John Kerry was another one. It's like they just just so fake.
Just when you listen to John Kiriakou talk about John Kerry and just how phony John Kerry really was, and this is someone that was on John Kerry's staff, and just just a piece of work he was.
Very phony. And then
drop my cigar.
Like him or don't like him, but I always thought George W. Bush was a pretty genuine dude. He had his goofy, silly, stupid moments in here and there, and Lord knows, I'm not a big believer in some of the stuff that he had come up with, with going into war and stuff. But he's one of those guys where when you start the interview, you start listening to him talk and stuff, you're like, all right, I think he's just a goofy Texan,
Yeah.
And everybody talks about him and, oh, his daddy did this. I'm like, well, listen, here's the deal. The guy was a pilot in the military.
Yeah.
They just don't let someone whose dad owns an oil rig or whatever his father's. They just, hey, my dad he ran the CIA. Oh, why don't you go ahead and hop in that jet? You're in, we're gonna put you in the program. You got to be pretty fucking smart. He's not a dumbass. I think his left brain, right brain, when he starts speaking and the way he verbalizes things, and I think he's very awkward in that situation. He's not very smooth like Clinton, but man, you can't be dumb and get in a cockpit of a jet and fly it.
Yeah. 100%, bro. 100%. Did you get to the point of the podcast where he talked about Clinton being JFK's illegitimate son?
I have not. You did tell me. I'm waiting to hear that part. Oh God, it's now. I looked high and low, and I really couldn't get a lot of details on this guy's background.
Who, Mike Barra?
Yeah.
So Mike Barra is he's an author, New York Times bestseller, kind of really known for the Ancient Aliens thing, but he worked. His dad got him a job at was it Boeing? And
it was Boeing. I heard his story. But I'm saying there's not a lot of information out there about him, his background and stuff.
Yeah, he's just a guy. I followed him for probably 5 years or so. I don't know.
I know. They said he's was in the the industrialized military complex.
Yeah.
Definitely was involved. Deep with some of those things, especially when he talks about some of the programs he worked on at Boeing, and then some of the things he couldn't talk about. Guys like that is pretty impressive, but. I was trying to get a better grasp of his background.
Yeah, I think he's just a good researcher. I think is what it is. He's just a good researrer. So,
and he's worked on some things, obviously. I mean, he has his hands in it, and he's definitely seen some things. So, so far as I've gotten on that interview, it's starting to hook me. It's starting to hook me.
Yeah.
Now. Because I like, who's he talking about? The one guy that he said he doesn't. I think they work together. He said that they don't dislike each other, but they may keep in contact maybe once a year.
Yeah.
He said, and he's like, why? AJ was like, why? What's the deal there? I heard you guys had a big falling out. He goes, well, not really. We kind of settled that. He goes, but it's ego. He goes, I like walking into a room and being the smartest person. When I walked in the room and he was there, I was not the smartest person in the room. Yeah. I was like, that takes a lot of balls to admit that. I'm not friends with him because he's way smarter than me.
Yeah.
It's what he said. Hey, I didn't like walking in a room and not being the smartest guy.
Yeah.
And AJ's no dummy. I mean, he's Mensa, right? Mensa.
Yeah, he's really smart. A lot of social anxiety, though. You could tell in the Tucker Carlson interview. You could tell in the interview he did with Shahan Ryan, just a ton of social anxiety. Mm-hmm. He's dealt with which he's talked about on his show. Depression, like night terrors. He's he's a complicated individual. He's truly scared about some of the topics that he talks about, because he's afraid of being that they're going to come after him.
Yeah.
And that's legitimate fear. When he talks about that stuff, you can see it in his face. You hear it in his voice that he's genuinely scared.
Yeah.
About bringing up some of these topics.
Yeah. I always kind of thought he was a disinformation person, because some of the stuff that he does,
Yeah.
I always thought I always got that vibe, but I definitely, you do pick up on his, being genuinely fearful. And he's mentioned a couple times, well, we've done this and I didn't, release it, because I knew there's no way, they were going to let me get away with that. I'm going to release this, but it'll probably get pulled or probably be devalued. Yeah. Something's going to happen with this. But yeah, super smart dude, but like you said, very socially awkward. And I think it was with Sean Ryan where Sean Ryan's kind of like that, very engaging and like tries to kind of bring you in to make you part of this buddy interaction. And you could definitely tell that there was he was having a hard time. Like he appreciated everything, but there was no way he was going to take that leap.
Yeah, no, not at all. Mm-mm. So I know they're coming after Sean Ryan now too, trying to get him to pull down an episode with whatever there's someone on talking about that church camp that they settled and abused like hundreds of kids or something. So they're trying to get him to pull that episode down and claiming they're going to sue him for defamation. And it's like, listen, you settled out of court, for abusing kids. There's no defamation there. It's like you by settling, you admitted, some shit was going on. So
yeah, you'll say behind closed, you'll say out in public, well, instead of dragging this thing out, we're going to go ahead and settle, blah, blah. No, there's a there, but I do like his podcast, but I think sometimes when you're watching Sean Ryan, it's like watching Billy Corgan interview somebody. Billy Corgan's a very interesting dude, very talented, obviously freaking Smashing Pumpkins, everything he's done. But when you start hearing him talk, you're like, listen, dude, slow your roll. Okay. Yeah. Stop, don't ask a question so you can talk about yourself, and then some of the freaking shit he pulls out of his ass on I was copied. And when I heard this song, that sounds just like this song. It's like, dude, there's a reason why those guys come out and say, you can play any song if you know these 4 chords.
Yeah, that's it. They're trying to. Ed Sheeran has won a couple of lawsuits now, and I think that you're going to start seeing less and less of those those lawsuits. And it's just like, listen, Chuck Berry's family, stop suing everybody. Stop suing everybody. It's like, just for money.
Yeah, no, it's you can find a commonality all the way down into your favorite classical music. You can find that thread all the way down to classical music. I took an arts music class my freshman year, and our teacher music class it was musical appreciation. She pulled out some of the pieces, Beethoven, Bach, and actually was like, here's this song today, or this song for the 50s and 60s, and they're stealing from these guys. This is where it's coming from.
Yeah, there's been a couple of lawsuits where bands have sued bands, but they were covering older stuff, and it's like, hey, you stole that. Mm-hmm. We may have taken that from you, but you took it from someone else. Like, you can't claim ownership of that. So I don't know. It's
What song is it? The dun 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 dun.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the Beethoven's Fifth. I think it's Beethoven's Fifth.
But if you listen to Richie Blackmore, who wrote "Smoke on the Water," he said that "Smoke on the Water" is playing that backwards.
Oh, okay.
That's where he got it from, listening to it and then playing it backwards, and that's what "Smoke on the Water." That bum 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 bum.
That's awesome.
Slowing it down, he goes, "Hey, Because I was inspired. I stole it. He goes, it's reversed, but
That's it. Beethoven's family going to come after
I'm
him.
after Richie Blackmore and Rainbow.
That's it. So, all right, everybody. Thanks for coming on, spending a couple hours your Monday night with us. Remember, you can catch me on KMA Talk Radio this coming up Saturday. Next Saturday, Jessica, a.k.a. Miss Cigar Prop, is going to be on KMA Talk Radio as well. So I'll be tuning into that because they always end up talking shit about me. Always. Every fucking time she's on, they end up talking shit about me, making fun of me.
You guys are fasting, so I guarantee that the shit talking is going to be at a whole high level, buddy.
Yeah, it'll be early in the morning for her, so it won't be so bad. Luckily, it's not an afternoon show, or thered be a lot of shit talking.
No, she got 2 weeks to gather more information.
That's it.
Like today.
Yeah. So, all right, we'll see everybody this Saturday. KMA Talk Radio. You can find it on the KMA Talk Radio YouTube channel, and then we'll see everybody back here next Monday night. So,
we'll see you.
See ya.